Okay, so we're here for our first block of the week block tutorial, and we are doing Arkansas Traveler today. And we have two methods of putting the folded corner block on the rectangle. The first one would be to take your 2-inch square, put it on the corner of the rectangle, and then draw a line from corner to corner, like so. And I like to use a pin-style chalk aligner because it has a tapered point, which will go close to my ruler. And I'm putting squares on both corners, drawing my diagonal line. Then I will take this to the sewing machine and sew on the drawn line, and then I will trim 1/4 inch away and press back. My other option is to take my rectangle, put my squares on the corners like so, right sides together, and then I have a new favorite tool called a folded corner clipper, which I will put on the corner, and it has 1/4 inch added to it, and I need my rotary cutter. Hang on just a second. Okay, so I have my rotary cutter, and I am going to trim right next to the outside edge. What this does is it leaves me 1/4 inch seam allowance that I then will take and sew, and I have the other corner. So with this one, it's the equivalent of sewing on a drawn line, but I've already done my trimming before I sew, and I have my 1/4 inch, and if I'm sewing an accurate 1/4 inch, my folded corners will come out perfect. So I'm going to go sew, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we've sewn the block together. We have the rectangle with the folded corners on both sides of a center rectangle. This square, when you get done, should measure 5 inches. Then we're going to arrange them and sew the block together into 4, rotating the direction of the rectangle. And at this point we have 8 seams that are coming together right here in the center. And yes, you can press from to one side or the other, but it's extremely bulky in here. So what we want to do now is reduce the bulk as much as we can. So we're going to fold this back, and we sewed vertical seams here, and we now have a horizontal seam. And you'll notice that there are about 3 stitches right here on the vertical that cross the horizontal. We're going to take those stitches out on both sides, and then we will press the seams in opposite directions. It will let us spin the center so that it lays flatter. So now we have those stitches out, and we can press 1 seam up and 1 seam down, and it will look like a little pinwheel right here in the center, but it also has flattened this seam so that it lays much crisper and cleaner. And when you get done sewing all of this together, this block should measure 9.5. And that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week.